Hello and welcome, everybody. It's Saturday night and it's the Red Cup Review, and this is Rob Banks, your host. I am here with my better half, Baz. Say what's up, Baz.
What's up, homies?
And not only are we joined by Baz, but we are here with the return. 6 weeks in the making, Knack's Plastic Planet. Give it up for Knack.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for having me back on. I really appreciate it. Welcome back inside of the Plastic Planet. And it's great to be back with you guys right here on the Red Cup Review. Appreciate it.
We were trying to save Knack for a special episode, and then we figured out what the hell are we saving him for. He's got to come on because it was just such a great time to have you on last time. Baz, what's going on, man? How was your week?
Yeah, it was funny. Like, what the hell are we saving him for?
Yeah, right. Like, there's this big thing going on. Like, it was so good last time. We got to save this precious live stream that we did. Just get the fucking guy back on the station.
Just have the dude on. He was awesome. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Hey, nice to see you again, Baz. It's great to be back on. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to come back on. It's really fun.
Yeah, dude, you're awesome.
Baz,
the Tattoo Boy Hunter says howdy, y'all. Kev's Matrix is in the chat.
Nice. What's going on? Yes, this is Gimli. We'll give me a second, guys, to run through the beginning of the show. Please remember to like when you first cut on, leave a comment, all that stuff, and join in on the chat. This is the new Asmus Toys Gimli. He just came in this week. I'm going to give you a nice quick up close because I'll be doing a review on him this week. And there's a quick little look at Gimli from the Lord of the Rings. And Asmus, as always, has awesome, amazing clothing, and all the weapons are in die cast. They are very heavy. These things you could pretty much knock somebody out with, or put an eye out with. Here's one of his axes, and that shit's really sharp right there. So I will be doing a review on Gimli shortly. Let's get him back on the camera there. Remember to like, subscribe. Remember to go check out the Plastic Planet. Go and subscribe to him right now because Knack has got an awesome channel. He's one of the only channels I watch pretty much regularly whenever he posts a new video. I endorse the hell out of him. So, all right. Once again, this week and for the next 8 weeks, we are sponsored by the Collector's Resource. And they gave the Red Cup Review these awesome, and these really are awesome. It's not, I'm not just loving these frames because they're just great frames. I wouldn't endorse something if I thought it was a piece of shit. These frames are great. They're great for your CGC comics, and they have regular comics holders as well. I want to show that off real quick. That's thecollectorsresource.com. But what I really want to show off is the comic that's inside, because what I have here is a 9.8 Flash Rebirth #1, and it's signed and sketched by Ethan Van Sciver and Carmine Infantino. So take a look at that. Baz was with me when we met Carmine. If you take a look at the lightning bolt right there, and Carmine's no longer with us. Carmine is actually the creator of Barry Allen, if I'm not mistaken. And this was like this was Jeff Johns' take on the Flash, the return of Barry Allen, just like he did with Hal Jordan. And it's a great comic. It's awesome. Ethan Van Sciver's got some of the best art to ever grace DC Comics in the modern age. And Carmine Infantino is obviously the classic guy. Braz, remember meeting Carmine when he had him sign this comic?
Yes, it was awesome. He was sketching Adam Strange.
Yeah.
And I remember he didn't like the way it was coming out, and then he tossed it over to the side. Me and you were like, oh,
yeah, I'm just like, okay, here's Adam Strange. Wipe your ass with this.
We wanted it, but then we saw one of the interns there working, one of the volunteers or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
He scooped it up. He scooped it up for himself, rightly so.
Yeah, I remember when he took this comic. I had the CGC guy obviously standing with me, and he was like, "Hey, can I take a look at this?" So he signs the cover, right? He signs it in pen, and then he's like, "You mind if I take a look through this comic?" So he actually thumbed through this comic. So he didn't just sign it and pass it back to me. He actually sit there and flipped through it and looked through it and looked at Ethan Van Sciver's art. Van Sciver was actually on the other side of the con, doing signings and sketchings and art, all that other stuff. And that was the con that I went up to Ethan, and I tried to have him do the sketch, but Laura was outside with the car, and he couldn't do it in time, so he had to refund me the money for the Hal Jordan sketch. So I want to bring that up to him if I ever run into him again.
He just announced his own comics imprint, All Caps Comics.
Yeah, speaking of which, I was going to mention that he had a thing on Twitter that came out about an hour to 2 hours before the show started, and I was just listening to it on his Twitter. comics artist Pro Secrets. Ethan Van Sciver has officially left Comicsgate. He has divorced himself from Comicsgate. So he had some kind of like a debate last night with some dudes about Comicsgate, and they accused him of being like just trying to sell his stuff and push his stuff. And he was like, look, guys, we're here to kind of like create an alternative to Marvel and DC because of the bullshit that's going on. Like, that's what Comicsgate, it was to him at least. And they kind of called him out as being a guy that's just trying to sell things to people. And he's like, well, isn't that what we're trying to do, is give them an alternative to they're paying customers that want to buy interesting stories. So that's what we're here for. We're the creators. And he kind of like, that was like a wake up call to him to kind of just break off and completely go into do all caps comics, which was already development anyway. But he actually had like a 25-minute video rant on Twitter where he basically just,
there was a lot of jealousy and infighting. Ethan's very successful. So yeah, he divorced himself from the hashtag Comicsgate.
Yeah, word. So I mean, that's cool. He helped a lot of guys. You know, I heard that like other creators were telling him like, "What the fuck, man? You can't leave us." But they were like, "Yo, we understand." But Ethan's the man anyway, and he was really nice to me when he signed this, and he was really, really nice when I got a chance to speak to him. So, anyways,
I actually got a chance to meet Ethan Van Sciver's brother a couple years ago. My good pal that's on my channel a lot, my good pal Uncle Pat, he's a comic book artist. He does comic books himself, and him and I collaborated on a comic book a number of years ago called Nickels, and we were showcasing it at a comic book convention here in Denver, and got a chance to meet his brother, who's also in comic books. So just kind of an interesting, completely trivial fact there. So.
Oh, it's pretty.
Yeah, his brother does like he's more of a cartoonist. He does like indie style comics.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome, man. That's really cool. Yeah, they were just he was such a fucking classy guy when I met him. He gets a lot of flack for being like some kind of crazy racist and all that. That's all bullshit. I met the guy personally, and obviously we didn't discuss his personal politics back in 2010 when I met him. But he was like, he couldn't be a nicer guy. He was probably one of the nicer guys. That was the same con, Baz, that I wanted to. I had an issue with what's his face, the fucking dude Joe Mandora, when he was with his girlfriend and he pulled the fucking remember. All right, I'm a little all over the place here. All right, the guy that drew the Justice League comic that we love, that insulted me when I met him.
Identity Crisis, right?
Yeah, who was that? That's
we always forget his name.
We always forget his name. Fuck him. Anyways, he drew an Identity Crisis, and there was an issue. We'll discuss that in another episode that I had with him. Anyways, I ran into Joe Mandora at the same con that this was the same convention, and I was like the biggest fucking Joe Mandora fan as a kid. I tried to copy his art when I was like 10 years old when he was on the X-Men, and I was like, "Hey, it's Joe Mandora," and he was just like, "Yeah, hey kid, whatever." And I was like, "Hey kid, like
He was acting like an aloof rock star or something.
Like, dude, I'm fucking 28 years old. His
girlfriend.
Like, you know, yeah, your girlfriend's hot. You're a good artist, but you draw for a living, for Christ's sakes. You act like you're fucking, you know, like who the hell you are. But whatever. I guess that's their time to be rock stars or whatever. And you know, I'm not going to let that ruin the fact that I still think that he's one of the great comic artists of the late 90s, early 2000s, or whatever it was. So
his style's kind of played out, though, man.
Well, yeah, it had its time. Like when it came in, and hit hard, and then it went out just as fast as it came in because it's a very manga-y type style or whatever.
Exactly.
Anyways, so
manga.
Go once again, check out the Collector's Resource to hang some of your favorite comic art on your your fucking man cave or whatever it is you got going on. Anyways, we are going to move on with the news of the week. Baz, we are going to start with a Star Wars rumor, and I know Knack's a big Star Wars guy too. You got Matt Smith to possibly play a young Palpatine in the new Star Wars movie, Episode 9. I personally think it's bullshit. What say you?
Knack, you first, bro.
Oh, cool. Hey, I just noticed in the chat room, we got Just a Fan. He's one of my huge subscribers. So big shout out to Robert, Just a Fan, for joining us. And we also have the Tattoo Toy Hunter. He's a great YouTuber. I check out his stuff all the time. He's a great toy hunter, and he's a great goes into all these places, thrift stores, and weird eclectic places, and he collects the coolest, like off the off the beaten path action figure. So check out the Tattooed Toy Hunter. He's in here as well tonight with us. So thank you for joining us, Kevin and Robert. Appreciate it, guys. So anyway, what do I feel about that? Well, my wife is a huge Doctor Who fan, so that's like my connection with him. You know what? I don't think, I think it is just a rumor. He could be playing a number of different characters, including, a knight of Ren. I don't know. One thing that I don't like that's been going on in Star Wars is the use of flashbacks. And that started really in The Last Jedi, and it really is just disjointed from the rest of the continuity. If you watch episodes 1 through 6, Lucas never used flashbacks as a narrative device. And so I would certainly hope if he is in playing a young Palpatine, it's through some sort of Force narrative as opposed to a flashback. If that makes sense?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you, I think it's all horse shit. I think the only reason why is because his face looks like he could be a young Palpatine. But I think that's all clickbait nonsense. He's going to wind up playing some guy in the First Order who's just like their commander. He's going to be like the Admiral Piet for this movie. They did the same shit with Laura Dern in the last movie. I know you guys hated The Last Jedi. We get it. I don't want to talk about that movie, but everyone was saying, oh, Laura Dern might be Mara Jade. Oh, she's going to be some kind of person to help Rey with Luke and all this shit. And she wound up just being a fucking commander in the Resistance. So I have a feeling that this guy is just going to be a commander too. And that's going to be the extent of it. Because every time they announce one of these big name actors or one of these off the beaten path, like really cool actors, they just play some guy. Like it's just some guy in the Resistance or just some guy in the First Order. It's never nothing big. It's not another hidden Sith character or any of that shit. So I have a feeling this is all just, conjecture.
That's what I do hope they use him because Matt Smith, he's a decent actor and he has an enjoyable on-screen presence. So I hope they do utilize him in some fashion, just not make him some generic kind of, uniformed dude.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you got this, like they do that shit all the time. To me, that's just clickbait article type, nonsense like they normally do. Baz, what are you showing us? I don't know. It just went to like a picture of a guy in a snowtrooper outfit for a second.
Wait, do you see it?
Well, now I do. Yeah, it's go ahead, Kurt Russell with his woolly jacket on.
I think he's gonna play Gus. You know Gus? This is Gus.
You're a fool.
It's basically what you call it. It's Star-Lord's father's second head from the 2-pack, Marvel Legends 2-pack.
Mm-hmm.
It's put on a stormtrooper from the Solo movie.
Yeah.
It's actually from the Foosh. The Foosh started Gus, but it's a popular version of the character. Yeah.
So, where do you think this is going, Baz? What do you think? Like, do you think that
it's all this stuff is clickbait, man? Like you said, I don't.
Yeah. No,
I hope he is though. I hope he is because he's a great actor.
Right.
Everybody was worried when they first cast him as Doctor Who because I think he might have been the youngest actor to play him. But when you saw him play the character, he carried himself in such a way that he felt like an older man. So he's a really good actor, and I hope he does play a young Palpatine, and because I want Palpatine to somehow be in the narrative of this story to wrap it all up, to connect all the movies together, all the trilogies into this one final story.
I'll tell you,
as much as I like to be big.
As much as I like The Last Jedi, we know this. I feel as though that because of the one thing I didn't like about The Last Jedi, which was the prequel-y type stuff with them, on the horse racing and then the Finn with the Rose Tico stuff. That did not need to be in the movie, and they could have filled that up with other stuff, which would have helped bridge the gap a little bit. But I feel as though that JJ has such a big, massive fucking undertaking for this movie that if this movie's not going to be 3 hours long, they're going to be in a lot of fucking trouble as far as getting Rey to where she's got to go, finishing Kylo Ren's story, and connecting all 9 fucking movies. Like this, supposedly this movie is supposed to be the movie to connect all the movies together with like this one single thread. So that, you know, and still make it somehow continue making it the Skywalker saga, you know. So I don't know. I just think that there's
I want to see Force Ghost Luke with like lightning coming out of his eyeballs, like fucking Raiden from Mortal Kombat, just lighting shit up in this fucking movie to make up for that travesty that is The Last Jedi. Maybe they'll get me back if they do that.
They've got a lot of work to do with this movie, like you said. If you don't mind me chiming in, it just feels so disjointed at this point. I don't know if J.J. Abrams has the narrative chops to pull it off. With all due respect to him, they almost need to do like a 2-parter, like a Deathly Hallows 1 and 2 at this point, just to kind of course correct, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be against that either. Then I know they're not going to do that, but I wouldn't be against having this be a 2-parter and just having like I know it's supposed to be trilogies, right? It's supposed to be the 3, and the 3. Well, to make it the 3, and the 4, whatever. If they have to do it to wrap up the stories in a nice, pretty bow, I'm cool with that too.
Does Phasma come back?
The who?
Captain Phasma, is she coming back, you think?
Who the fuck knows at this point? I don't like that. Again, I didn't mind what happened in the movie. I enjoyed what I saw because I thought it was entertaining. But right now, my focus is on where's Poe Dameron going, more Rey, more Kylo Ren, and I don't give a fuck about anybody else because I love Rey and Kylo Ren so much that I almost wish everyone else just goes away and we just focus on the 2 of them and we get a little bit more Luke and I'll be happy. Again, Knack, please, if there's something you got to say, just say it. I'm not like just come in and hit me with the quick fire stuff.
No. Well, first of all, with Captain Phasma, I mean, there was a character that like they specifically created for the frickin' trailers. I mean, she had no role. She was a total chump in The Force Awakens, and then they try to explore why she was a chump by putting her in some novel, which I didn't read. But I mean, you shouldn't have to augment the movie with a novel to explain the character to give it some kind of weight. So yeah, Captain Phasma just like seems to show up, do something awesome in the trailers, and then she's just total shit on screen. She was supposed to be the next Boba Fett, and maybe in that sense she is, because honestly, if we're being honest with ourselves as original trilogy fans, Boba Fett really wasn't all that special. He was more of a fan favorite than anything else, going back to the original films. But nevertheless, so yeah, that's my opinion on Captain Phasma. My biggest gripe, if I can just voice my biggest gripe with The Last Jedi, it's number one. I saw The Last Jedi in theaters last year, and I was trying to give it I wasn't a huge fan of The Force Awakens, but I was enough of a fan that I thought it left enough open-ended questions. And I just felt The Last Jedi just took all those open-ended questions, wrapped them up, and threw them in the trash can while giving everybody the middle finger at the times. What they did to Luke Skywalker was just a travesty. I mean, this Luke Skywalker is the greatest modern hero in the history of fiction. I mean, Luke Skywalker is as beloved as Achilles was to the ancient Greeks. And what they did to his character, Luke Skywalker is not going to draw a lightsaber on a sleeping boy. Never. I mean, it just makes, this is a guy who's so optimistic that he felt he could bring his father, Darth Vader, who is basically Space Hitler, back to the good side. He saw who's Darth Vader was such a lost cause, such an old lost cause in Return of the Jedi, and he had enough optimism to feel that he could bring him back without destroying him in Return of the Jedi. That's what made his character so amazing. And they took that and just took a giant dump on it in this movie.
So hold on a second. My question is, if J.J. Abrams tells us that Luke was actually being manipulated by the dark side of the Force, because we didn't get enough of Snoke or what the fuck his deal was. So if they do give us more of him and how he was able to influence the chain of events, and then you get the explanation that why Luke would do something like that, like have that second moment of doubt, does that indemnify The Last Jedi.
There are ways they can fix it. There are no doubt there are ways they can fix it. You know what? But when Mark Hamill, I thought Mark Hamill leading up to the release of Last Jedi, he was so just a Debbie Downer about it. And honestly, I thought Mark was just trolling the fans. Mark's got a history of kind of doing that. He's a real tongue-in-cheek dude. And so I just thought he was trolling us. But everything he said was right. Luke Skywalker did suck in this movie, and he warned us. There are ways they can correct it. First of all, I don't want to see him dead. I don't like the way they killed him off, like he OD'd on the Force. I mean, come on. George Lucas' original vision for Luke Skywalker post Return of the Jedi was he would be the greatest Jedi that ever lived. He'd be able to dueling Luke Skywalker in later years would be like dueling a lightsaberist that was like throwing 100 different lightsabers at you. That's kind of where George Lucas was. He'd be so powerful. And just the Last Jedi just turned him into this hobo. This homeless hobo that you see downtown panhandling for quarters.
It's so awesome. All right, hold on. What you were saying about Luke being possibly manipulated by Snoke in a way to the that's why he went to Kylo's bedroom chamber in the middle of the night, whatever. Okay, fine. Let's say he did that. Why was it like pulling teeth when Rey came to Luke on that island and said, Han's dead, the rebellion is on the run, your sister's in peril danger. Why didn't he try to do anything? And he still stayed on the island. He let Rey leave. So, no, it's still the character up.
I just see we're looking at this from two different perspectives, like the way like a Republican and a Democrat would see things, see the world, right? I don't see it like that. I went on this tirade when I did the show about 3 weeks ago alone. RC Robin asked me to break down The Last Jedi with uninterrupted, and I did. And I kind of gave my thoughts back then. And I'm not going to expect anybody to go back and watch that video. But if I could wrap this up quickly, I would say that the way I saw it was that I don't think that Snoke was manipulating him. I think that Luke was not Space Jesus. Yes, Luke is the modern day Achilles. I'm all in. Luke is fucking most awesome guy in fiction ever. Yes. I don't see him as Space Jesus. He had his moment of dark side. The dark side snuck into him when he was fighting Vader. He almost killed Vader. He dropped the lightsaber. He probably
I hate this friggin' excuse. He was fighting. It was in the heat of battle.
Right. So he probably felt as though
in the heat of the middle of the night, he went and brought his lightsaber to his nephew's
we don't know what he saw.
Bed?
We don't know what he saw. Let's not confuse what Kylo Ren saw versus what really happened. What really happened was Luke just turned the saber on and then turned it off. He wasn't going to hit him. Kylo Ren saw him doing
Why is he bringing his lightsaber with him?
Probably because he saw the fucking Vader 2.0 in this kid. That's just what I'm from what I gathered from that. That's what I got.
In all fairness, Rob, that's what I gathered too. I just didn't. The thing is that where it really messes up to me is they needed to focus on the character development, needed Rey's side of things, not on Luke's. Luke's already had his trilogy. Luke's character was already fleshed out. His hero's journey was really over. The moment that he knocked Vader down, cut off Vader's hand, submitted to the dark side for that brief second, and defeated Vader. And the Emperor was so pleased because he comes out good. He knew that that Luke could turn at that point. And Luke pulled back from the precipice, didn't turn to the dark side. He tossed down his lightsaber. He says, "No. I am a Jedi, like my father was before me." And that was the greatest scene ever because Luke was basically saying he was betting on the good in his father with his life. And that scene, it was over. It was done with
That's
Luke.
Right, exactly. Luke didn't need an arc in this movie.
Well,
it was Rey's arc.
With you guys
All
there.
Luke had to do was be like friggin' Merlin or Gandalf in this and be a mentor. That's all he had to do.
Yeah.
Instead, they ruined his character.
I'll tell you what, I didn't think that they ruined his character. I actually liked Luke more in this movie. I thought first in any of the other ones because I liked what Mark Hamill brought to the table as far as his acting goes. I thought this was his best job in acting wise in a Star Wars movie. Now, I agree with both of you when it comes to his story being over and it needed to focus more on Rey. Now, if they would have taken, if I was doing it, I would have gotten rid of the entire Canto Bight stuff, just get rid of it, and keep Finn asleep in that chamber the whole movie. Finn shouldn't even have been in this movie. He should have been fucking out from that fight with Kylo Ren. And by getting rid of that, you just focus on Rey. Everyone wants Rey. Even people who fucking hate The Last Jedi, because I like the Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. I pretty much like all the new Star Wars movies. But even the people that violently hate these fucking movies like Rey, for the most part, and they like Kylo Ren. And they might, even the people that think Kylo Ren is a whiny bitch, they're like, yeah, but in this movie, he was still kind of badass. And his storyline when he talks to Rey is still really good. It's well acted. It's well written. So keep the focus on them. Everybody else plays the B team. All right. Because now what you're left with is still not knowing about Rey's parentage, still not knowing about how much more of a badass she's going to be. Is it going to be a time jump? So you're left with like, oh, I want more of her. You know, I don't need more Luke. I need more her. And that's where I agree with you guys, where that was a missed opportunity. So by getting rid of the 17 minutes of Canto Bight stuff, we could have had 17 minutes of Rey training and talking to Luke and learning more about the Force and all that shit. And that would have been absolutely perfect.
Exactly. More Jedi philosophy, more training.
Totally agree.
And that was a missed opportunity. Now, granted, when I say I love The Last Jedi, I do not love The Last Jedi like I love the Empire Strikes Back. This isn't like a deep fucking soul-hearted love. I just really enjoyed the movie. I don't want to switch gears here real quick, but I do have to shout somebody out that is in the chat room right now. He's called the Maverick. All right. This guy's going to be on the show in 2 weeks. Baz, I didn't get a chance to tell you about him yet. He is a writer. He's a novelist. We met in one of the comic. He's like not comic, one of the toy pages. And I reached out to him. I said, hey, you want to be on the Red Cup Review? He said, yeah. We had a nice 20-minute phone call today. So in 2 weeks, he will be making his appearance. We'll be talking about his creativity process and the book he wrote and all that stuff. So shout out to the Maverick and everybody. Tune in every week, but tune in 2 weeks to watch me and the Maverick and Baz, talk shop. Okay, moving on. Oh, okay. Yeah, here he goes. He just said, this is Maverick, by the way, the author of Minion Book of Blades. Hi, Rob. Yes, Maverick, my man. All right, RC Robin, if the original trilogy had been made in 2010, 2014, and 2018, fans would rip them all to shreds and insist they were all garbage. A big reason for the massive hate is the internet itself. RC Robin throwing in his 2 cents into the ring. I want to keep this moving because we did just rant now for a half hour once again about the fucking Last Jedi, and this is going to go on forever. We're going to be doing
how's about this? It's not friggin', it's not fucking rocket scientist. Ruin Johnson is not a good writer. That's it. It's as simple as that. It has nothing to do with the internet. It has nothing to do with nowadays and yesterday or whatever. Rian Johnson sucks. One guy wrote this. That's it.
Staying in the Star Wars universe for a moment here. Once again, we have another piece of news that Diego Luna will be in a Cassian Andor prequel TV show. And if I may if I might go first, guys, I don't give a shit about fucking Cassian Andor because he's a giant piece of fucking wood.
He's wood. Yeah.
I enjoyed Rogue One. I didn't love it. I enjoyed it. I thought that it had the best look out of all the new Star Wars movies. I like the real dirty grittiness of it. It looked a lot like A New Hope. It had that real grimy feel. I thought that the main 2 characters, which I thought I was going to be in love with Jyn Erso. First of all, I love the actress, but I saw the promo materials and I was like, oh, I'm all in on this. I think she's going to be great. I want to buy the hot toy. And then I saw the movie and I was like, she's kind of boring. Like the best parts of Rogue One were everything not with Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor. I thought both of them were forgettable. I didn't even, if it wasn't for the fucking toys, the Black Series figures, I wouldn't even know what his name is. I kept calling him, the guy with the gun that just shoots people, that he's in the Resistance and he hangs out with the girl in the movie. That's the extent that I got out of those two characters. I thought that entire movie, enjoyment-wise, was everything else, especially the look of the movie. And the two Asian characters, the Donnie Yen and the guy with the gun, I wanted to see their movie. And the robot. That was the movie for me, for Rogue One. So Diego Luna's getting his prequel series about Cassian Andor. And I hope that, for his sake, as an actor, I hope that he's going to take the character into a kind of a little bit of a different direction. Where it's a prequel, so we're going to see maybe different aspects of him and how he grows into that really boring version of his character in Rogue One. But I don't need to see him be a swashbuckling, wisecracking Star-Lord type character. But he's got to show more fucking emotion in the things he's doing on screen. And I have a feeling that had a lot to do with the director and not the actor himself, just for everybody that wants to crucify me. Because I said this in like 2 chat rooms this week when it was announced. I was like, look, boring, the TV show. And I got fucking crucified. Oh, Rogue One's the greatest fucking Star Wars movie ever made next to Empire. Oh, you fucking suck. This guy's a great actor. Rogue One was amazingly acted. He was a wonderful character. You don't understand the movie and where they were going. I don't need to understand it. If I watch a movie and it's fucking boring, the fucking movie's boring, okay? If the character is forgettable...
I liked Rogue One, but it like any movie, it has its problems too. And I just think that he was kind of bland as a character. The female lead I thought would be better, and she was okay. She was better than him, Jane Erso. But the movie I thought was really good. It has one of the best battles in Star Wars at the end. I thought the ending of the movie was excellent.
Battle Scarif.
And of course, that Vader scene, man, that Vader unleashed. Come on, but him as we need to go forward in the timeline, man. Let's stop going back to prequels and stuff, because we know where this ends up.
Knack.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the thing: is like I totally agree with you about the actor, whatever, I can't remember his name right now. He was a little flat in the movie. Cassian Andor was not my favorite character in that film. So when I saw that announced, I was kind of like, meh. But I will say this. I love the freaking sandbox that Rogue One takes place in. That's at the heart of the height of the Galactic Empire. That's, just prior to the Battle of Yavin. So I love that timeline in the Star Wars canon. Also, like we mentioned, if you got Cassian, you're going to get a lot of this guy, K2SO. Now, you know what, guys? I am I am not a Disney Star Wars fan, but I freaking loved Rogue One, and I freaking love this guy. That's why I got the Hot Toys of him right here. K2SO. Wow. This dude was the funniest character in that movie. He made the movie. I loved his dry wit. This is the coolest droid, since R2-D2 in the Star Wars universe, in my opinion. So I hope you get a lot of K2SO. I hope we get a lot of seeing the Empire actually cast the ones, as opposed to seeing them act like a bunch of Keystone Cops like in the Rebels animated series. And so I have cautious optimism about this series.
Yeah, pretty much, and he just fucking hit it right there, and I can't. Besides mimicking what he said, Sandbox quote, dead on. It's a good time period to be in. The look of the film was great. It was just it just came across as not as adventurous as I like my Star Wars movies to be. I like to have them to have a little bit of adventure. I would
like them to go back to the Old Republic if they're gonna do a prequel.
Yeah, if you're gonna go back prequel, that they got, dude. If they really need to go and do the fucking Old Republic story with Darth Revan and his brother Malak and all that shit. Talk about man.
Yeah, have you guys read the Darth Bane trilogy?
I've read the first 2 books. I read the first book.
Yeah,
I think I read the first 2.
That is some of the best Star Wars I've ever read. So bar none.
Yeah, so if you're gonna go back there to where we're kind of divorced from this stuff here, All right, so there you go. Diego Luna playing the fucking put me to bed character. All right, let's see. Okay, toy reveals. Here's toys reveals of the week. I'm going to pull these up on the screen the way I did last week, and we're going to get a quick look at what I think are the 2 coolest reveals this week. We're going to start off with the Reveltech Gambit figure, and This thing is quite pretty looking. Is it coming up on the screen, guys? It's coming up on my screen, so I can see it. Reveltech does these figures where they're 6-inch figures, 6, 7-inch, something like that. They're multi-posable, super freaking posable, and they're very much casted in the Marvel versus Capcom type style. So if you're into that, here's your Gambit for that series. Baz, what'd you think of the Gambit reveal? And then Knack, if you're even interested in this, you could chime in as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like Revoltech. A little pricey, but they're cool. Did you check out the Psylocke?
Yeah, I actually didn't get the picture of her. She actually is in. Gambit is like in prototype stage, but Psylocke's going to be released real soon, and she looks really good.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Okay, I'm afraid to start. I'm afraid to like any of these because then I'm going to start collecting them, and there goes.
Right, exactly. Knick Knack, do you do any 6-inch stuff?
You know what? I not too much. I collect a little black series here and there, but not too much. What are the price? I'm not really familiar with Revoltech. What are the price points on those? What are the price range on there? Where do they come in on price point?
Baz, this is your wheelhouse.
I think anywhere from like 60 to 80. It's up there because it's an import.
Okay, so they're a little cheaper than like a Mezco, but like a little more than okay.
So there you have it. There's the Revoltech Gambit figure, and I think it looks great. If you're into that style, if you want to, because I know that right now this is like the competing style with the Mezco figures. I'm a Mezco guy. I'm not going to start getting into these. If I was more into the Marvel vs. Capcom game, or that super over-the-top stylized Jap anime version of figures, this would be great. And if you're a Gambit fan, I guess he's a must-have. We're going to move on, though, real quick we're going to stop this. We're going to go back to me. How's it going, everybody? And we're going to go back to the next screen share, which is what I thought the reveal of the last 2 or 3 weeks even. And that's with this. I think she looks magnificent. This is the Wonder Woman, the new Wonder Woman. This figure is so damn beautiful that I was talking, Baz, we were talking yesterday or the day before about this. It's amazing what some bright colors can do for a heroic character, and really give you that like the superhero is here. Anyone at all?
She's
what the fuck?
She has Linda Carter's kind of outfit mixed with the modern.
Yeah, I freaking love it, guys. I gotta tell you, I saw that on Hot Toys' Facebook feed this week, and I kind of got pissed because I just bought the Justice League Wonder Woman Gal Gadot. I just bought her. I did a review on my own channel about a month ago. So she's downstairs in my detail downstairs, and I saw that. I'm like, son of a bitch, because that's awesome. You know what? And superheroes need to be bright and vibrant. I don't care if we're talking DC or Marvel. I don't care. I love it when when superheroes wear bright colors. It just pops. That is gorgeous. I absolutely love that figure.
I think that there's both good and bad to be had in this figure. I think the good is obviously like everything we just said. The colors are wonderful. It looks great. For a collector's standpoint, it's going to pop off the shelf like crazy. That's going to be one of those figures that you put on the shelf and the eyes are going to go right to it just for the colors alone. However, the negative that I got to be honest with, it's a lazy, I don't want to say it's a lazy repaint, but this is the perfect example of a lazy repaint done well. So it's like, oh, we'll just throw out another Wonder Woman out there. It'll be a repaint, but this is done so well that it's like, it has a lot of wow factor to it. But at the same time, if you're going to do this, give us fucking Linda Carter already. What are we doing with our thumbs up our ass? All right, Hot Toys, come on. We all want, we got the Adam West Batman, we got the Christopher Reeve Superman, and now we need the Linda Carter Wonder Woman. And this gives me hope right here, depending on how this one sells.
No, I totally agree. It actually just looks exactly like the figure I just bought downstairs, the Justice League. Maybe it might be a little different, but the face sculpt looks exactly like the Justice League version I just bought.
No, Baz has got it up right there. Baz, you got to talk in order to get it up on the screen.
Yeah, this is my baby over here. She's yeah, she looks great, but you know, she has the she doesn't have those bright colors that pop.
Well, that version of Wonder Woman. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what this one would look like next to your Ben Affleck Batman or your Henry Cavill Superman. You know, with the bright colors, it may look a little weird. But that being said, the fucking thing just looks awesome. So if you're a Wonder Woman collector and you're just going to get Wonder Woman and have her kind of sitting on a shelf by herself, I think this is the one to have.
And
if you're gonna,
weird about it because everybody is like actor actress specific, and she kind of just like hello.
yeah, like Miss Bell raises a good point. She's like, it seems like all the other figures are very actor specific, whereas like the version of Wonder Woman that you guys have would work great with the versions that have already come out of the other actors, and it would fit more. But I guess if you don't have that and you're not really into the new DC universe, but you want a Wonder Woman figure and you're not going to necessarily pose her next to your Ben Affleck or your Henry Cavill, I think this is the Wonder Woman to get. It says, when will she go up for pre-order? There's a reason why she's not up for pre-order right now. I'm going to take her down from the screen real quick. And this may come as a surprise to some people. For those of you that actually watch the news here and there, there are actually wildfires going on right now in Thousand Oaks, California, and the wildfires are right next to SideShow's headquarters. So they're working at half the amount of people are actually staffed there. They're not taking any calls. They're not doing any live chats. Everything has to be through email as of the last couple of days because the wildfires are pretty damn close to their offices. Like, look out the window. The fucking world is on fire right now. Okay, like half of their staff was told to stay home this week, which is the reason why this didn't go up for pre-order. Otherwise, it probably would have went up for pre-order already. So once those California wildfires get under control outside their offices, this figure, I'm sure, along with others, will be up for pre-order.
Do you almost think that kind of looks like a? And of course, yeah, we wishing the best for everyone on the West Coast there. But you almost kind of think that Wonder Woman is almost maybe possibly a sneak peek of Wonder Woman 84, maybe.
Oh yeah, you know it's funny you mentioned that too. I want, if they're gonna have a newer costume, and Baz and I were talking about this. This Wonder Woman figure looks like she would go along perfect with the new Aquaman. The way they're advertising Aquaman now with the bright orange, and the way they're advertising the new Shazam movie. He's in the bright colors. This movie lends itself to that, right? And at the same time, Wonder Woman 84, here we are 50 years later or 70 years later, removed from the World War I story that we got. And the 80s were all about crazy neon colors, right? Everything was popping in the 80s and bright and colorful and stuff. This would be a good opportunity for them to introduce this outfit and to give us a newer Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And I think that would go over well. Baz, same thing, right? You're pretty much in lockstep with that?
Yeah, see, like I'm afraid of buying this one and then the Linda Carter one comes out. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah, no, I know, because I mean, how much? First of all, there's only so much money to go around, right? And then you really want the Linda Carter one, and this is so freaking close, you know. And then how many Wonder Womans are you really going to have in your collection? You know what I'm saying? Unless like they're vastly different, or the face sculpts are vastly different, or something like that. Even though the outfit is obviously different, but is that enough?
Dude, yo, you have to go to Toy News Eye. Okay, you got there's a new picture of Superman and Lois from the Elseworlds crossover.
Oh yeah, I saw that where he's standing there and she's like in his arms. I saw that photo.
Yeah, and the backdrop is like
about it, man. I would have put the picture up this week.
It looks great.
Yeah, it does. He's such a great fucking Superman. All right, moving along. We showed you guys the toys of the week, and we mentioned SideShow, so I'm going to take us into this aspect. And Knick, Knack, this is kind of something that I think you could add a lot to. It's the part of the show I'm going to call customer service. Okay, and that's either good customer service or here's your customer service, right? So it's come up recently that Mezco doesn't really have very good customer service. Their customer service is not very good at all, actually. But their fan interaction stuff. They stopped doing interviews at comic conventions. They've kind of shut themselves off from their fans. Every one of their fucking toys sell out at a drop of a dime. Every one that goes up for pre-order goes to it goes to wait list within anywhere from 22 minutes to 48 hours, and the figure is off the market. So Mezco's been getting a lot of flack for their lack of customer service. SideShow just had Spooktacular. I personally think SideShow has the best customer service out there as far as when you need replacement parts, when you rewards points. They're always doing giveaways for their fans. They do the Wednesday live chat where they actually interact with people online. I think that they bar none, they are above and beyond any company, period, as far as fan interaction and actual customer service type stuff. Barring you going to Best Buy, buying a $3,000 television, then spending another $500 on that replacement package where you could just walk in with it and say, I don't want this fucking thing, give me a new one. And they just hand you a new one in the store without any runaround, but you have to pay for that type of customer service. I think that SideShow, bar none, has the best customer service on the market. So the question I pose to everyone in the chat room and to you fellas as well is, does customer service affect your buying experience?
Yeah, hell yeah, definitely. You know, the thing with SideShow over the years, and it's funny, I feel really bad. I actually posted a video this week with my good friend Uncle Pat. He bought the quarter scale premium format Han Solo Bestman figure this week, and he kind of had a bad customer service. You can go to my channel and watch that video. I'm not going to totally get into it, but he kind of had a bad customer service experience with SideShow Collectibles, and I kind of, for the first time ever, really kind of bagged on customer service, on SideShow's customer service. And then, you know, half their employees are dealing with this fire, and I feel freaking terrible about it. So the timing sucked. But,
yeah, right. Like the one time SideShow drops the ball, it's because the fucking world is on fire, literally. You know?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that, but I mean, it was. We did kind of complain about SideShow's customer service in this particular instance with his experience. But overall, throughout the years, SideShow's customer service. And I can't speak to Mezco's because I've dealt with him, but my experience with SideShow's customer service has been exemplary, and it needs to be, though, because these are frivolous items. We are not talking about, we're not talking about your water bill or your energy bill. These aren't things you need. All right, no one needs a Hot Toys figure. No one needs a premium format freaking Darth Vader statue, and they know that. For the most part, they know that. And so they do pick it up on the customer service level. They are accommodating on a number on a litany of things. A number of years ago, more than a number of years ago, I got my 1/6 scale Best Luke Skywalker, my SideShow version, not my Hot Toys, but my SideShow version. And it came on a cold winter's day, and I was so excited to get it, guys. And I brought it in. I opened that sucker up, and I wanted to change out the hand to put the red the stump on it. The stump. The little accessory it came with, so it could have his hand cut off, right? And I was like, so kind of caveman did a little bit, and I broke off the freaking peg inside of the forearm, and I was like, I was devastated.
Fucking nightmare that must have been.
Figure. Yeah, I thought I ruined my figure, and I called up SideShow, and they, no questions asked, they mailed out a new a new peg and everything, and it was fixed. So I mean, that was a number of years ago, but that was my biggest experience with SideShow's customer service. Overall they are very accommodating, and you know what? But they need to be. They really do, for this type of for the business they're in. Let's face it, because no one needs this shit. This isn't this isn't buying groceries. And I think they know that.
Yeah. Baz?
I haven't really dealt with much customer service for either of any of those companies, actually. So I don't have enough experience to really have an opinion.
So it's like, well, not necessarily customer service, not necessarily. Let me be a little bit more specific then. Not necessarily meaning something broke, I need to have it fixed. I call up, are they going to take care of me? Yes, that's probably the most important part of it. But also fan interaction, doing things like having interviews. I will go to the comms and I walk right up to Susan, and Susan recognizes me now. She's like, "Hey, Rob, how's it going? Red Cup guy." And I'm like, "Yeah, hey, how's it going?" And it seems like because they do a lot of Twitter stuff, they do a lot of these fan interaction things, it makes you almost feel like you don't feel bad spending the money on a hot toy. or you feel a little less bad about it because you feel like you're part of an even greater community. Like, I think, and I think that goes across the board with SideShow, because when they launched their Court of the Dead line, and I'm not trying, I know I've been talking about this a lot the last couple of weeks. I'm not trumping up this Court of the Dead. Everybody should get into this, because I don't even have one, and I'm not going to buy a premium format figure, but I am getting this Kier 1/6, whatever. The way they launched that, the way they brought you into that universe is a testament to also how they do their social media interactions. And they have this thing where you can go online and see what faction you're in. And then when it determines what faction you're in, you type your email address in and they mail you like a bunch of pins and a fucking sticker and a patch and all kinds of other shit. So they know how to bring you in and make you feel like you're part of something greater. So that's also what I mean as far as like fan interaction, customer service type thing there going on. And I brought this up initially because of the arguments about Mezco. And Michael B. just wrote in the chat something that's pretty interesting. He says, do you think Mezco realizes how much bigger they've become, and got the who cares about our customers, they're still going to buy our stuff? I think yes and no. I think when you blow up as fast as they do, you kind of lose sight of where you were. Like no one fucking knew about Mezco except for people that bought Living Dead dolls, like, you know, your little emo niece or something, or nephew that was into, like, you know, this undead, you know, underground thing. And then they came out with the 112 Collective, and they really blew the friggin' doors off with this. And they're basically the 6-inch version of Hot Toys now at this point. Let's not call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. They're 6-inch Hot Toys. And I think that because every one of them sells out, like even when I call them, and I'm like, yeah, it's, you know, Rob from the Red Cup Review, and I do reviews for you guys. I need to know about this, this, and this. I get my answers, but it's very like, yeah, hello, this is Mezco. Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, all right, thank you, bye. Like, we like, you know, fuck off, you know. So, and it really, who the hell is the Red Cup Review? I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal, but there are other litany of other people that do the same thing. Like, hey, man, you go to cons, you try to talk to these guys, and they've put the wall up recently. We're not doing any interviews. What you see is what you get, and that's it. And too bad if you don't like it. So I think that kind of like is a slap in the face a little bit to the fans. For people that are at least even trying to jump on board to this stuff, like, oh, I want to get involved in this, and their stuff sells out quick, and hey, I like your stuff, and they're just kind of like, yeah, that's nice, buy our shit at the counter and get out of here. Like, that's kind of the feeling I've gotten from them lately. Again, like, you know, Baz, I guess you don't really pay attention much to this stuff. And I know Knack, you're mostly a 1/6 scale guy anyway. Paradox Nerd,
hey,
like
I dabble. I don't collect exclusively like everything. Like, you collect Mezco like way more than I do. You buy more Mezco, you buy more Hot Toys, like, so you get into the whole community culture aspect of it, as to where like I dabble, you know.
Right, yeah, true. Paradox Nerd, hey, what's up, guys? Yo, my man, I want to fucking get you on this show, bro. Okay, so if you have a minute, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. If you want to jump on real quick, I'll throw you the invite. Otherwise, if you just want to hang out in the chat, that's cool too. Paradox Nerd is a guy that I was able to join on the Darth Castle open mic show last week. Really cool fucking dude. Oh, shit, he says, let's do it. So now I got to figure out how the hell I'm going to invite this guy on the air. So I'm going to give Baz and Knack something to talk about real quick. And I'm going to throw this in your lap, and I'm going to take a back seat real quick, and I'm going to try to get Paradox in here for the end of the show. So what is next on the docket? The Jeremy Irons will play Ozymandias, an older Ozymandias in the HBO Watchmen series. So, gentlemen, take it away. Paradox Nerd, I got to figure out how to invite you real quick, so you can write that in the chat, and I'll try to get the invite to you. Guys, take it away.
All right, Basil, I'm going to let you take the lead on that one. I don't know a lot about.
Have you read Watchmen?
Yeah, I don't have HBO.
Oh,
so
no, but have you read Watchmen though? The book?
No, you know what? No, I'm not really very familiar with it. So I'm going to let you go ahead and take the lead on that.
Oh, okay, definitely. Jeremy Irons as an older Ozymandias. Great casting. Great actor. It seems like they're going forward in the timeline of Watchmen story, which is good. It's not a prequel. I'm getting sick of prequels, as you could see from before. So yeah, no, I'm definitely down with that. That was pretty funny before. You can't bring up Star Wars when me and Rob starts talking anything little tidbit about Star Wars. It always ends up into like this Last Jedi friggin' debate. It could take over any podcast at any time.
That's just where the fan base is right now. It really is. I don't think any movie has ever broken a fan base more than The Last Jedi did. That's just my opinion, but it's
The Phantom Menace.
I'm still here, you fuckers. I hear you.
Let me talk a little. I'll tell you, since we're trying to stretch. This is what we do in the broadcasting industry. We're trying to stretch this out a little bit. This is the signal to stretch it out. I'll talk a little bit about the Phantom Menace here. I had just graduated from college in 1999 when the Phantom Menace came out. So I was very much. Have you ever guys seen the movie Fanboys? You know, like a bunch of guys are trying to break into Lucasfilm to give a friend who has a deadly disease a chance to see the Phantom Menace before it comes out, because when the movie comes out, he's going to be dead. And so they break into it's a comedy, but they break into to Skywalker Ranch to get this guy an advanced screening of the Phantom Menace. I was very much at that age group when the Phantom Menace came out. I was just out of college, and I remember going to seeing that movie that night. And my initial impressions of the Phantom Menace was, it was kind of like, well, it wasn't as good as the original trilogy. But I've always felt like it wasn't supposed to be as good as the original trilogy, because it's supposed to be like the Hobbit is to the Lord of the Rings. It's just kind of setting things up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I really felt like the initial response to the Phantom Menace was actually kind of not like, oh, this is the second coming of Empire Strikes Back, but this is decent. But then kind of the media weighed in, and that's when the real like hate began. It's just sort of ironic to me because it's like I feel like the media has put The Last Jedi on a pedestal, but it was the media that tore down the Phantom Menace. And in many ways, the Phantom Menace is the most expensive indie film of all time. No major studio funded that film. That was entirely Lucas at the time. It was an indie film. And so it's sort of funny to me in that respect.
Well, look, we got Liam Neeson as a Jedi Master, which is cool as F. And
hey,
so you had a guy.
There he is.
Oh,
hey,
shit.
What's up,
guys?
man?
What's up, everyone in the panel? Baz, Knack. I just watched your video today, so
Thanks, buddy.
Oh boy, this shit is blowing up now.
just real quick, whoever's in the chat, hit that like button. Actually helps Red Cup get some more people watching this. But I was watching you guys talk about SideShow real quick, and I just wanted to mention real quick that they're experiencing some problems right now with the shooting and the wildfires. So I just saw on 1/6 Society that the fires are really close to the warehouse. I don't know if you guys.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So, but I just hope that Susan and everyone else that works for SideShow, that they're all safe, they're all evacuated. But in terms of their customer service, top notch. And I dealt with Mezco. I only collect Mezco here and there, but judging from New York Comic Con and how they deal with the lines and the demand for like the exclusives is mishandled. They pretty much, usually a lot of companies that do a lot of conventions, they allocate each day for how much they're going to sell. So it gives other collectors chances, whether they want to go to another booth to pick up another exclusive, or whether to go to, Mezco, pick up an exclusive. But it's basically all like they will sell everything the first day, and they have no limit. Like if Red Cup Rob wants to buy like 10 of them, he could buy 10 of them.
Yeah, so they run it pretty much like like a business. This is a business. We're here to sell action figures, and I don't give a shit if the first guy online gives me 40 grand and buys out our fucking whole stock. It's his.
Yeah.
You know?
And if this guy wants to be a flipper and scalp or whatever you want to call them, and sell these like Mezcos for like twice as much, it's not fair to the actual people that are fans and are collectors of this stuff. And Sideshow won't even do that. If you go like today, like this year, Rob, like you went to Sideshow's booth, like they weren't like giving out like Iron Man like to like it's one per person, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I had no stake in Disco Iron Man. Like I didn't need to have him in my collection, but it was more of like, okay, here's your ticket, and now you can come back at like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, or whatever it is, and get yours, or come back tomorrow, or whatever the hell it was. They're a little bit more collector friendly, so to speak, for the collector, as opposed to just running this shit like a business, And I can't really fault Mezco for doing that either, though. Like, look, they're in the action figure selling business, and if they're just going to sell their shit, they don't care. They don't care what goes on in the aftermarket, because it's just going to drive up more demand for their figures in the first friggin' place.
Yeah, I just wish they kind of give, they are before. I mean, how many years ago when Mezco wasn't like they were in that limbo stage where they weren't selling a lot of figures, and they kind of changed things up, and they made like Hot Toys, versions into 6-inch figures. Yeah. And that's what made them so popular within 2 years. They just blew up. But before that, they were struggling. Like they were struggling to sell like their Mortal Kombat figures. They were struggling to sell their Breaking Bad figures. Like you went to Mezco booth and no one was there. Yeah. Now you go to Mezco booth and everyone's there. So they definitely did some changes, which is great. But at the same time, you kind of have to respect the collectors.
Here's a breakdown of the Mezco booth and the Sideshow booth, right? And you were there at New York Comic Con, and Knack, I know you're out in the Midwest and stuff. So let me just give you a quick breakdown of the both booths, okay? You walk by Sideshow, there are people walking around just looking at their statues. You go right up to the counter, no line. I'd like to get a chance to get the Iron Man figure. Here's your ticket. See you later. When we have it, come back. Thank you. Bye. Go enjoy the con, or talk to Susan, or go look at our other statues. Mezco, the fucking doors aren't even open, and there's a 2-hour wait. The doors aren't even open. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and there's a fucking 2-hour wait to get online. The line was so long that at one point, guys were like, yo, I'm waiting online 2.5 hours. It's now 12:30 in the afternoon. I'm missing the half the fucking day at the con, just trying to stand here. And now the shit is sold out, and I can't even get my stuff. I just wasted 2.5 hours of my day. That's kind of horseshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Rob. First of all, just a little correction there, man. Colorado is not in the Midwest, man. We're in the West. We're not farmers, bro. We're cowboys out here. And,
Colorado, you guys have the good stuff, man.
East Coaster. Anyway, no, love you, man. No, love you. Just kidding. No, seriously, you know what? I kind of can vouch for that a little bit. Now, I was at San Diego Comic-Con twice. It's been a long time, but I went in 07 and 10. And I remember going distinctly back in 07 to San Diego Comic-Con. And even back then, Sideshow was the shit. I mean, their booth, it wasn't a booth, it was a layout. And it was all museum quality. And I remember that was the year they previewed the 1/6 scale Jabba the Hutt that I have. I don't think he's on camera now, but he's sitting right over here. The big giant 1/6 scale Jabba the Hutt. And I just remember like my jaw dropping. And I just went just as a consumer and just as a fan, and just level awesomeness that was in that booth. And it was the same way in 2010 as well. Sideshow owned San Diego Comic-Con, at least in the 2 years that I was there. So I can definitely speak to that as well.
Yeah. Sideshow's main presentation in terms of like their collectibles and their new releases is definitely San Diego Comic-Con. They have a smaller booth in New York Comic-Con, but seriously, New York Comic-Con, and Rob can probably attest to this, they're blowing up. Like we had more attendees this year than San Diego Comic-Con. Like it was insane. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, packed house. I couldn't even move.
Yeah, I remember when New York Comic-Con a few years back, the Thursday night used to just be a night where you could just go, and it was like a press night. And I had gotten in this press, and you were able to walk around nice and easy. I was able to walk up to creators and stuff. I had a conversation with Jeff Loeb at that time, that night. It was really nice and relaxed. Now Thursday's a full day, and it's like everyone's taking off of work, and the fucking place is mobbed.
Yeah,
you know. So, and what bothers me is that New York kind of gets like shitted on. Like we get the redheaded stepchild treatment with the exclusives and all that other stuff. Like San Diego, they got 4 exclusives and all this stuff. They got the Darth Vader. I think Knack, you got the Darth Vader, right? With the evil eyes, the Anakin with the Sith eyes.
Right behind me.
And New York gets Disco Iron Man, which is basically just a throwback from San Diego. At this point, it's like, come on, guys. You know, enough is enough. I think New York deserves a lot more, especially since it's got a lot more people going there in the first place.
Yeah. But you know, first of all, thanks for having me. I just wanted to dive into that topic you guys were talking about. But you know, it's a pleasure to meet you guys. You know, if anyone in the chat, I collect mostly hot toys, and I do collect some, you know, statues. I do collect Cannoli Crusader actually hooked me up with the Doctor Strange Mezco from New York Comic Con, so he was able to. So yeah, I do collect a lot. I leave no stone unturned. I'm pretty much open to everything. As long as I like it, I'm picking it up. You know, I don't limit myself to, I only collect statues. Oh, I only collect hot toys. I only collect Mezco. Like, I like to collect, you know, everything. Even collect comics, you know, comics. Darth Vader comic, the best comic out right now for Star Wars.
The last week I had every week I put like the different action figures on the table, and last week I had my Lion-O out here, and that was an actual shout out to you because you had just unboxed your Mum-Ra statue. So I had said at the end of the show, I was like, oh, and the reason why Lion-O's out here today is a shout out to the Paradox Nerd because he just did his Mum-Ra statue. So
thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
You know, the Lion-O out there for you. But Mac Collections, what's up? I know you said what's up like 10 minutes ago, dude. What's going on, bro? I'd like to get you on too at some point. I know it's already like the 11 o'clock hour, and at this point I start winding the show down because I got to go watch Titans with the missus.
Oh, I just watched it.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's why I just finished it with my wife. Awesome show. Oh my gosh, the best DC TV show, hands down. Best TV show. Really, really good. And it's violent.
Action-packed episode, too.
Yeah, you saw it too?
Does it have the Robins in it?
Yeah, I watched it just before I came on. It's awesome.
You guys.
Oh, my goodness. I highly recommend this to anybody. You don't have to be a DC fan or just watch it. It's a good show. But yeah, I just want to say, Knack, I love your collection, man. I love you are an awesome YouTuber, man. I watch all your stuff. Sometimes I don't comment, but I do watch your stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I watched it this morning. You're pulling out some stuff out the pond. I was like, whoa. Yeah, I love your stuff. I love your Star Wars collection back there. I'm a Star Wars guy too, man.
Thank you.
All right. I want to, I got to get through like these last 3 topics for the show. What's the matter? Yeah, I did the thing with the frame this week. Yeah, I showed it off. We did a whole Ethan Van Sciver thing earlier. I'm sorry, Miss Bell sometimes just like reminds me with shit.
Oh, it's okay. My wife is right in front of me. Please don't.
All right, so getting back to the topic that I had just missed, I want to throw my 2 cents in on the Jeremy Irons playing Ozymandias in HBO Watchmen, and the casting could not be more perfect. Knack, please go and read the goddamn Watchmen or watch the movie or something, because it's like probably the greatest fucking comic book ever written. Okay, This is like reading 101. Like, I want to be a comic collector. Here you go. You hand them the Watchmen. But that's just great. You know, Baz, we didn't even get a chance to talk about this. The perfect casting, right? I mean, could you really ask for anything more? An older Adrian Veidt, you know?
Yeah, great.
All right, great. Yeah, definitely. Paradox.
Alfred's too. Yeah. Great Alfred.
Yeah, well, he's a great Alfred too. Paradox, what do you think?
Oh man, I just found out the news by you telling me right now. Oh my gosh, perfect casting. Jeremy Irons. Yeah, Watchmen was one of my underrated movie by Zack Snyder. Very underrated.
I don't understand that because it's probably the most comic accurate movie ever made.
Yes, but you have a lot of mainstream viewers that went into there thinking like, oh, superheroes, they're gonna fight, they're gonna do this, but it's not about that. It's more than that. It's about them struggling,
their day-to-day stuff and what it's like
exactly
to be a hero and stuff and all that, like the real life.
I just don't want to ruin to anybody that has, but highly recommend it, whoever's watching, watch The Watchmen, the movie. There is a Zack Snyder or director's cut. I know there's an extended version.
Oh yeah, that's the version to watch, dude. With the Black Freighter edited back in, the animated Black Freighter edited back in. R.C. Robin, Knick, Knack. Read the comic before watching the movie.
Yeah, so I don't want to put too much because I know Knick, Knack didn't watch it or read it.
I get it, guys. I get it. I'll go pop my chair. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna buy that shit for you for Christmas, bro. I'm be like, yo, here's your fucking. Merry Christmas. All right, real quick. I don't know. Paradox, are you a gamer at all?
Yeah, I am a gamer. You know, I grew up in the 80s. You know, my kids, you know, they're spoiled brats. They pretty much have everything that I didn't have as a kid. But you know, that's what we do as parents, right? But I play a lot of stuff. I just bought Red Dead Redemption 2. I was watching some videos on it. You know, I think the stuff you could do in there is pretty crazy. Yeah. I was just playing Spider-Man also.
I hear that game is outrageous. I'm hearing nothing but great stuff from that game. BioWare just did a thing where they are going to be releasing a new Mass Effect game, and I'm bringing this up because me and Baz are huge Mass Effect fans. It's my favorite series of all time. It's one of my favorite things. Like, okay, there's like Star Wars for me, and then there's Mass Effect as far as like sci-fi fantasy stuff. And the reason why Star Wars edges it out is because of the Force and the whole philosophy conversations that we've been going on and on for the fucking last 30 years of my life. Me and Baz have been going back and forth, but I'm hoping that they do it as a direct sequel. I'm hoping to Mass Effect 3 and not Andromeda, because I did not enjoy Andromeda at all. Baz, I know you weren't really a big fan of Andromeda either, right?
I actually finished Andromeda. It wasn't too bad. It was decent.
You actually got through it?
I do. Yeah, I got through it. It was okay. It's not as bad as they say, but I do hope they bring back the the dial. What was that? The powers dial?
Yeah. The power wheel.
The power wheel. Yeah.
I'm a big Mass Effect fan. I only played the first and second one, and I was gonna play the third one, but my files erased from like Mass Effect 2, where, you know, like all of my decision making and stuff like that.
Right.
And then, you know, it got bad reviews and just never got around to playing it. But Mass Effect 2, blown away. All I gotta say is that scene in the ship where you're like, oh, okay, everything's chill, and surprise.
Yeah, that was the fan for real.
Yeah. I was sweating bullets, man. That was a good.
But I'm hoping that it's more in line with the original Mass Effect series. And Garrus is one of my all-time favorite sci-fi. He's my favorite video game character of all time, and he's like one of my all-time favorite sidekicks of all time. Like you got Robin, you got Han Solo and Chewie, right? And then for me, you got Garrus is right up there with them. Yeah, he's an alien in the Mass Effect series. For those that don't know, and I guess we're gonna close the show out with this. Paradox, are you a wrestling fan at all?
Old school wrestling.
All right, good.
I'm talking about the WWE Attitude Era. That was my favorite. Even before that, you know, Hogan and Warrior and, you know, Piper and Roushing. I could go on and on, but the new stuff, I'm not caught up with it.
Yeah, no, we're not fans either anymore nowadays. For us, it's the Attitude Era. What? The newer wrestling. Oh yeah. No. Wrestling nowadays sucks. It's been 21 years, actually. Yesterday, I believe, was 21 years that the Montreal Screw job took place. So then that was like basically the birth of the Attitude Era, and I wanted to mention that on the show because it's a big part of pop culture, and it's a big part of just sports in general because it wasn't scripted. And for those that don't know, basically Bret Hart was to face Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam. Back in '97, Bret Hart was to drop the title, but he didn't want to drop the title, so he was going to relinquish it the following night on Raw. So Vince McMahon came out, and behind the scenes, him, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels along with the referee at the time, I forget his name, Earl Hebner, got together behind the scenes and made this pact to literally screw Brett out of the title on TV, and it was not scripted. They were just going to screw him off, and he was going to WCW anyway, and they did, and it resulted in him, the famous him spitting in Vince McMahon's face, doing the big WCW sign on the pay-per-view, and then going backstage and actually punching Vince McMahon out, which you can catch on the Wrestling with Shadows DVD, where they do the documentary. We actually you don't get to see Brett connect because it was inside of Vince's office, but you see Vince walking out holding his head, and Brett kind of fucking with his hand and stuff. So Brett was my all-time favorite wrestler back then. So I have to go in eras now because I loved so many wrestlers from the Attitude Era, but pre-Attitude Era, it was always Bret Hart. When I was real little, it was the Ultimate Warrior and Hogan and stuff. But when I kind of came out of that, that stage, it was Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation. And that was a big testament to Frankie Fearless, who's in the chat room right now. That was my older brother, and we were always big Hart Foundation fans. And it was just, it's amazing how one incident can kind of change the shape of history and kind of reshape what the company became for decades past. And it gave birth to, the whole the evil Vince McMahon, the evil boss that kind of, preys on his subordinates and stuff. And I kind of want to mention that for the show. So if anybody else wants to chime in, be my guest before we wrap this thing up.
And then Brett went on to have a mediocre career in WCW.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Unfucking believable. Yeah, it's a shame that what happened to him. And then he goes on to have that mediocre career and then has a match with Goldberg where he actually gets kicked in the head, and it causes him years later to have a stroke, which pretty much ends his wrestling career. So it's a shame how that whole path, how history kind of
then his brother dies in the ring.
Oh, yeah, that was sad.
Yeah, exactly. It was an unbelievable thing. Knack, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm going to say, when growing up in my household, I come from kind of I'd like to say a rich sports lineage. My grandfather got drafted by the White Sox, and he ended up not being able to play for him because he got drafted by the U.S. Navy and went on to serve in World War II. And so I came from a real rich lineage of sports fans in my family, and I wasn't allowed to watch professional wrestling because it was fake. And the only time I expressed interest in wrestling, it was, well, you know what? Put on a sling and a headgear and go get your kick mat. And I did that in high school and in a little bit in high school, a little bit in middle school, and I never won a match. But I stuck it out. I always got my ass kicked, and I know the smell of the mat and the feeling of getting your head rammed into the ground and some dude's nuts in your face. And so that's really my knowledge of wrestling. That, and I used to watch Glow on television, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. That's the only wrestling I ever watched on television was Glow because it came on our local affiliate here in Denver back in the day when I was like in 6th grade. And I probably just watched that with a box of Kleenex next to me. So I know nothing about wrestling. That's all.
Oh, man, that's funny. Speaking of Glow, the Netflix show Glow is excellent. For anybody that has a subscription to Netflix.
It is actually great. I've watched it.
I have to check it out.
It's really fucking good, man. It's Mark Maron is the star in it. He's fucking hilarious, and the girls are pretty hot too. But that you don't need, like, look, we could go anywhere today and find hot girls. They're a dime a dozen in the day of the internet. So the acting is just great, and the storylines are fun. And Mark Maron's a genius on it.
I think I made it to like episode 5 or something. I never went back.
Oh, you're crazy, man. I enjoyed
Allison Brie is great in that show. She is just adorable. I love Allison Brie in that show. Really good show.
That's the Russian. She plays the Russian.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
She is. You got to see her outside the ring, like on the red carpet. She is hot as hell, man. She's a little. I like them a little more curvy, but if for a thin girl, she is out of this world.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. That's all I got for the show this week. We're past the 11 o'clock mark. I try to keep it as tight as I can. If anybody has anything to say for closing remarks, let me just say to make sure you guys like the video. Please subscribe to the Red Cup Review. Please subscribe to the Paradox Nerd. And of course, subscribe to Knack's Plastic Planet. And Baz, you have the Source Wall with Baz, right?
Source Wall with Baz. I have 4 videos up. It's me talking in front of a nice big palm tree. So it's awesome. Oh, and one more thing, Mutant Leader's nipples.
Yeah, oh, that's
Oh, nice.
the weekly nipples
There we
from
go.
Mutant Leader.
Yeah.
That's
go.
hilarious shit.
There
man.
you
love
go,
it.
suck them, babies. And yo,
They're
thanks
very-
for coming back, Knack, man. You're awesome. Nice to
Well,
meet you,
thank you,
Paradox.
Yeah.
I said,
Sorry.
for those that are in the chat, I said that Knack now has carte blanche on the show. He gets to come on whenever he wants. We're not going to be holding anybody back now. You come on,
We're not going to
Mac.
save
Maybe
him.
next week, Mac, if you're available and you're not laying in bed. It's funny, Mac. Last night I was watching the live stream you were on last night. Paradox.
Open mic.
The open mic channel, and I'm laying in bed getting ready, and then I type in, you guys are like, hey, Red Cup, what's up? And I'm like, yeah, I hope they don't invite me on the show because I'm literally in my fucking PJs right now, laying in bed and stuff. But so Mac, you're always welcome on. Obviously, Knack, you come on whenever the hell you want, and
Yeah.
PJ Paradox, rather, you're always welcome as well, man.
Can I just ask you guys one thing? I would love to talk to you guys about Star Wars and Hot Toys, and we gotta dissect what's coming up, in the next episode of Star Wars. So,
Oh my God! Listen, what's unfortunate?
let's do a 2-hour show.
What's unfortunate is that. Listen, what's unfortunate is
Tell your wife. We'll give her a heads up.
Costumes.
What's unfortunate is that you guys are like this anti The Last Jedi coalition that's building. I'm trying to build this like
all of us are.
Oh yeah, no, everyone but me hates the fucking new Star Wars. So I'm trying to build like this international league of heroes of the YouTubers here, and all I'm doing is just fucking building an army of Last Jedi haters to just slaughter me when we do the Star Wars episode. All right, this is just gonna be like throwing darts at my fucking head.
I was gonna say, is that because I saw your comment on my Kylo Ren review, and you were like, "The Last Jedi is awesome." I'm like,
fuck this guy. Thanks for the comment, asshole.
I was like, yeah, there's no thumbs down on this comment. But I was kidding.
Hey, Rob, real fast. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Nick. That guy. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, Rob, real fast, brother. You know what? It's really funny. We talked about Last Jedi just real fast. I know you and I recognized your Facebook pic profile. Dude, you and I, after The Last Jedi came out, you and I went toe to toe arguing about it in a Facebook feed months and months ago, right after the film came out. I never wanted to tell you that, but you and I were calling each other nasty names, but I just want to know that
Now look at you guys. You guys are buddies.
I had no idea.
Awesome.
You and I, dude. I knew you, dude. I knew, and I've known this.
My God, hold on, I gotta hear what he's saying. So me and you had this beef, like as our our real life aliases.
Yes, you and I went toe to toe with each other. We went back and forth for several posts on, I don't remember which forum it was, because you and I are on, and we don't need to say our real names or anything, but you and I are on several of the same forums, and we have been for a while. Dude, you and I went at it one time. And I didn't want to say anything, but I totally recognized your profile picture, your Facebook profile picture. I was like, I've been at it with that dude. Anyway, I love you, man. It's all good.
Oh, no, this is incredible. Yo, you got to do me a favor. You got to screenshot this and send it to me. If you still have the third, if you could find this, you have to send this to me because this is, I just think this is fucking
dude.
priceless.
I don't think I could. I've argued with you before. It's all good, brother. I love you.
She's like, we have to screenshot it and then play this theme song with the Perfect Strangers.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to talk to you guys about Star Wars and everything, and collecting Star Wars stuff because I'm a huge Star Wars guy. I love my theme of collecting was geared towards the dark side because I've always been a dark side guy. I never was towards the light. I think at some point when I was a little kid, I was towards the light, but then as I get older, I became more Darth Vader-ish. But I would love to dissect your thoughts and what your interests are with Star Wars, like what in terms of collecting.
Oh yeah, no doubt that would be great, and obviously we're gonna have Knack's gonna definitely got to be on for that one, and it'll get me and Baz. Me and Baz have been trying to put together this when are we gonna do our Star Wars episode because we were gonna do this big Star Wars debate about the Last Jedi and all this shit. But
Yeah.
it's looking like because this is growing, we may have to do something where we maybe do the original trilogy, the prequels, and then maybe do another episode on the sequels. And this, I was like waiting, like, oh, maybe 1 week where it's kind of dead and there's not a lot of news, we'll do our Star Wars episode. But it seems like now that the channel is kind of growing with, now that Paradox is here, this is going to be probably coming sooner rather than later. And,
yeah, let's do it, guys. Seriously, and I would love to talk to you guys about Star Wars collecting too. So.
Yeah, totally, man. So, all right, that's it, guys. Big thumbs up, Baz. Obviously, don't go anywhere. Thanks you, everybody, for tuning in. Please like the video. Go and subscribe to each one of us because we all got great channels in our own way.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for coming on. As always, I'll be in touch with both you, Paradox and Knack, during the week. And this has been the Red Cup Review. I hope everybody enjoys this, and we'll catch you next Saturday. Same bat time, same bat channel. See you later, guys.
I see you later.
Nice meeting you,
Yeah,
Paradox.
guys.